I'm trying to say is, I think that has to do with a relationship. We know this with these people for 25 years. So some of that is helpful. But again, most campuses, I will agree with Dr. Mandel, the DEI is not our friend.
So to end off with we have one or two more questions. I'm gonna ask Dr. Mandel first, and then we'll go to Rabbi Mendel and Razy. So kids are going to college. They're not stopping to go to college because of the anti-Semitism taking place. A lot of the anti-Semitism is taking place at campuses that have a huge percentage of Jews. And what kids have already committed to colleges for the upcoming year, but for students that are touring schools and are looking to see where they're going to go in 2025, what would you say is the defining factor of a campus that they should look at as a potential place that would be welcoming to a thriving Jewish community, that be welcoming to Jews and would be a positive atmosphere for them?
Uh, you know, up until October 7th, most Jews on college campuses from secular backgrounds, Jewish identity was part of what they were, but it was not a primary thing of what they were. And the goal was to go to college and get a good job, maybe, find a mate, and just, go down the beautiful American path, get into the Harvards and the Penns and whatever, and Stanfords, and it was wonderful. After October 7th, and again, as I've been saying again, things about hostile environments for Jews on campuses have been going on for a while, but now people are very aware of it. It's very important not to look just at the percentage of Jewish kids. I'll tell you this, my anecdote, both of my kids went to Brandeis, and there was plenty of anti-Zionism going on there, and a lot of it was led by Jews. So never make the assumption that if somebody is Jewish, that they are going to be somebody who has commonalities, hopefully most of the time, but it's not a for sure. So, I guess when you go to a college campus, you have to look and say, will I feel comfortable here and safe, and that I can express myself who I am? You visit the Chabad. You see what they're saying there. SUNY Albany, if with this thing, you're going to be a magnet because of what you've seemed to have found a really wonderful sweet spot that you can manage what's out there. Other universities, not so much. But if somebody is still into the name of the university, I mean, by the way, YU's admissions and applications went way up because people wanted to feel safe there, where they may have gone to Ivies or beforehand. Yeah, you need to do your due diligence. Talk to other kids on campus who are 1, 2, 3 years ahead of you, what they've navigated, and find out what they are. Are they a Jewish kid who just never really cared? Or they're a Jewish kid who had a high? Or a Jewish kid who found the places that they could be comfortable, and that's really, you're going to need to talk to people, and then the parents are going to need to speak to other families of kids there. So you're going to have to do a lot more due diligence because this is a bigger decision than I think it's been before, because this is I have to say, a pretty scary time to be a Jew in America for the first time in my life, and also to be a young person on a college campus. So due diligence is probably the most important. Mendel and Racy, what do you think?
I'll just reiterate one thing that Dr. Mandel said that I can't emphasize enough is that visit Jewish life before you go, before you commit. See what a Friday night looks like. Seeing a Friday night on campus is a very telling sign. You'll get to meet students, speak to them firsthand, get the vibe of the place. Don't look at statistics. First of all, a lot of those numbers are off. Don't look at statistics of numbers of Jewish students or other things like that. I would definitely check out the scene on what a Friday night looks like. To me, what a Friday night looks like is a bigger barometer of Jewish support and Jewish community than if there is or isn't an encampment. We did not have an encampment, thank God. By the way, I want to tell Dr. Mandel and everyone here, SUNY Albany has not been without our stresses. This was a very stressful year. This was a very intense year, and we did have some incidents, and we did have to manage a lot, and it wasn't easy, but we are grateful for the university's support, and we think we got through. but it's
For now.
and the shoe can drop at any time, you know. Actually, in our campus, they did nothing the first semester, zero. We were waiting for that shoe to drop. They only got active spring of 2024, which was, we got off easy the first semester.
Mostly.
But even it wasn't easy. I mean, even without the antagonism from the opposite side of this, our own students needed a lot of support and caring and connection. Anyways, back to the point about what to look for. I reiterate that idea of checking it out. And again, I think a Friday night is a bigger barometer than, let's say, an encampment. But I won't discount how administration deals with issues. In other words, most administrations, including ours, is not going to come out swinging pro-Israel. They play a very delicate balance. But whether they let things go unchecked, if there's physical violence that's not being addressed, if there's buildings that are not accessible, I would be concerned not because of that incident as much, but because of the fact that the administration doesn't have the pulse. They're not dealing with it. So I would say finding out somehow, especially from students there, how the administration is dealing with things, but also most importantly, Jewish life. You need a supportive Jewish atmosphere. It's more important to have Jewish friends, a Jewish community, and a supportive Jewish environment than it is to have them arrest 15 noisy knuckleheads, as one of our administrators called them.
Yeah, and I do want to also say, like, just a little plug is that our university police was incredible. The UPD was unbelievable. At any minute, we would message them. They were here. They gave us their cell phone.
They were here every Friday night and all the holidays.
They said if there's anything that's concerning, when there was a poster put up that was alarming, they came to tell us. And then they made an arrest on campus, like within 72 hours. Like they're really, I think, knowing like what the administration, what the infrastructure is on campus is something good to,
I have to say, UPD administration was good, but UPD was incredible. They were really very helpful.
By the way, if somebody really wants to go into the weeds of data, Barry Weiss had published an article about, if you want to see where there's more anti-Semitism on college campuses, you could look at where Middle East money has funded universities. And I have some of the statistics. 200 American universities illegally withheld information that they received 13 billion in undisclosed contributions from foreign regimes. And why this is important, from 2015 to 2020, institutions that accepted money from Middle East donors, specifically Qatar in the top of the list, had 300% more anti-Semitic incidents. And there's it's something to just do a little investigation. That is, again, it depends upon what university it is. When I was in Vassar, they told me that they were being politically lectured, even in English lit, and in some other universities, it is totally benign. But again, if you unfortunately need to do, as I say, due diligence. But I love the idea about seeing. I did that with my daughter when we went to Brandeis, on a Friday night, to see what it was like. And it's a nice thing to do, even if the child isn't ritually observant now. Just know that there is a safe, warm place for them to go. And you'll be shocked. Well, I know Chabads all around the country. Many non-Jewish kids go because of the good food on Friday nights. Yes. I remember Duke. So
I will tell you a funny story, actually. So there's a Muslim boy who's not culturally Arab. He's Albanian, who befriended some of our Jewish students, and he comes to Chabad. He comes to us all the time. So the BDS vote happened right before Pesach, I think. Yeah, right before Passover, a little before. And basically, we were walking to a senior home here on Western Avenue to do like for a few Jewish residents to do a little special Passover experience.
Before the second
Seder. So we're walking down University Drive, and it was a gorgeous day, and the basketball courts were packed. They were jam-packed with people. And so this Muslim boy, Albanian kid, he happens to be like boisterous and loud, and he sees us. He's playing basketball. He sees us. He yells, "Rabbi, Razy, I had a delightful time at the Seder. I'm coming again tonight." And basically the whole basketball court stopped. All 6 courts stopped playing, and they were listening to this guy. Anyways, that night for the second Seder, he came to the Seder with a boy, a redhead kid, and students started telling me right away, he's a Jewish kid on student government who voted for the BDS. And they were incredibly uncomfortable, but I didn't say a boo and I pretended I didn't know anything. And he sat at the Seder. And at the end of the Seder, he sang L'Shana Haba B'Yerushalayim, next year in Jerusalem. And we started dancing. He was dancing with us.
And Am Yisrael Chai.
And it was just, yeah, so
He was on that court on this guy's
he was on,
team.
yes, he was on the basketball court when this was announced. And
And there was also a girl that walked in with them, and she came because this redhead boy came. And I asked them, like, I said, what made you come? And they said, oh, we heard that he felt comfortable coming, so we felt that we would come along. And the girl told me her grandmother's been begging her to find a Jewish experience, especially a Seder, and she was afraid to come to something Jewish. When she heard that this boy was coming, she decided to come along with him.
I do want to say it is a challenge that we don't have many, but there are some Jewish kids on that side of the fence, incredibly troubling. And it's very difficult for our community. It is a hard piece. But I will say that the Jewish life on campus, Hillel Chabad, is much more religiously diverse than you ever imagine. I mean, I have a big beard here and everything, but the Friday night crowd is incredibly mixed, and you should like your student, your son and daughter, your high school kids, check it out. You'll be pleasantly surprised, and you'll find a way to connect with the Jewish community.
Wow, thank you for sharing.